Hello and welcome to episode 35 of our podcast, Smart Consulting Sourcing, the podcast about consulting procurement. My name is Hélène and I'll be your host today. Each week, I'll give you the keys to better use, manage, and source consulting services. This week, I'll discuss how to evaluate consulting proposals to select the best providers for your needs. Last week, I explained how to measure the performance in consulting. We saw that the measure of performance of an intangible service like consulting is not easy, but it has many advantages. It helps solve for issues on a given project, and it helps also to identify high and low performers. On the long run, you will be able to make sure your consulting spend is aligned with your strategy. But today is about the evaluation step in the consulting sourcing process. But let's start with how complex and important the procurement process is for consulting services. Procurement is one of the backbones of your company path to increasing its ROI and keeping its competitive advantage. Once you have defined in your RFP a list of criteria to evaluate the proposals, you can start from there and add the other requirements that you did not include in the RFP. You have also decided how much you're willing to invest in the project. Estimating your budget is key to selecting the most promising proposals. Think first about the value you expect from your project and then decide how much you're ready to spend to get these results. You can also request a presentation of the most promising proposals and ask the consultant to comment on their proposals. And you might end up changing the order of your top 3 preliminary choices. So the procurement process for consulting is too critical to be left to a flat averaging of reviewer scores. With that complexity, you should strive for clarity and simplicity. When evaluating proposals of prospective consulting providers, this principle cannot be more true. So let me share with you 6 of my little secrets to evaluate proposal objectively. And never forget that your main goal is finding the best proposal that fits your project and your organization needs. Some consultants are really brilliant. They will owe you during the presentation, but does that mean that they are the right one? Maybe. So you have to take a step back and consider your list of criteria so you can start grading the proposals. So your first step is to analyze the proposals. So of course, you have to go through a proposal analysis. You have to look at those proposals, compare with the RFP, compare with your needs, and make sure that the consultants are answering your questions and that they give you enough information to make an informed decision. But there's another thing that is extremely important when you assess proposals is to put together a team and to get a consensus score. So why do we recommend that? Because it's important to find consensus with your colleagues. You rarely are the only person involved in a consulting project. You usually have other stakeholders. And so you need to involve those other stakeholders in the evaluation process to get the best proposals. Because that's where actually project management starts. So you're going to ask me who is well suited to be an evaluator. Of course, when you have a diverse team of evaluators, you might end up with different scores. And that can be a problem sometimes. But don't exclude the outliers too quickly. You might learn a thing or two by exploring these proposals and getting the evaluators to explain their choices. But bottom line, the best result will be a consensus score. When you work with consultants, you will always have some stakeholders that have personal agendas. So if an evaluator has worked with this particular consulting firm or a similar one, it is very likely that it will impact the scoring, good or bad. You can also be in a situation where a reviewer uses the scoring to put a personal agenda into play. and a move that can be revealed in building the consensus. So it's highly recommended to overcome any personal agendas. And the way you do that is to discuss the different score, adjust the grades on each criterion, and also balance the relative weight of each criterion. Each person in the room should have a say in the discussion to make sure that you build a sound consensus. So finally, a selection is more likely to be perceived fair by the different suppliers, the stakeholders, and the employees if you have reached a consensus score. Of course, it sounds as it's more work than a simple matrix of X criteria and Y answers. And yes, it is actually. But the outcome will be worth it, because you will find a workable solution that will help your company win a competitive edge. But sometimes you don't have a proposal that fits your requirements. So when you find yourself in a case where there is no proposals that matches either your requirements or your budget, do not hesitate to have a second round of discussions with the shortlisted companies. Because the better the consultant understands your needs, the better they will be able to tailor the solution, scope, timing, team size to accommodate your requirements. As you can see, evaluating proposals is tricky. Of course, consulting is special. It's an intangible service, and you are sold intelligence and expertise. But it is possible. And our experience shows that if you implement these 6 steps, you will improve the success of your projects. Well, that's it for today. Next time, I'll explain how to boost the ROI of your consulting spend. In the meantime, if you have any questions or want to learn more about what we do at Consulting Quest, just send me an email at hélène.laffitte with 2 F and 2 T's at consultingquest.com. You can also have a look at our website, smartconsultingsources.com, to know more about our book and download free templates and guides to improve your consulting sourcing. Bye and see you next week. Au revoir.